Welcome to episode 122 of But I Know the DJ, the original New England podcast discussing all things DJing, music, nightlife, business, pop culture, the unfiltered opinions of host Snacks.
Give me snacks, baby.
Hey, KBV.
DJ Cammy V.
And today we are joined by longtime promoter and DJ covering multiple weekly events across all of New England. Mr. Boujee Entertainment joins the show.
Let's go, baby.
What's up? What's up? Thank you
Bougie,
guys.
What's up, brother? Let's go.
Bougie,
What up,
Bougie.
what up, what
Again,
up,
if
what
you're
up?
in New England, you've heard of his events. You've been to his events. You've seen me DJ his events. And yeah, I mean, no, longtime friend of the show. And it's good to finally get you on, bro.
I'm happy to be here, man.
And you're coming from
Not
where do you live?
I live in Bellingham.
Okay. Oh shit. So you live in Mass?
I live in Mass.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah. Because when I'm telling you this guy covers a lot of ground, I actually never knew where you
Yeah.
actually were based out of.
Yeah. So I live in Bellingham because it's the middle point. So
Right.
For me to go to different places, it's 35 from Providence, 35 from Worcester.
Yeah.
It's like 40 from here, so it's like right in the
Yeah.
middle. So it's good for me.
Yeah. Dope. And so, yeah, I mean, let's just kind of dive in terms of, I guess, your background in nightlife,
Okay.
what the journey was, and then where do we find you now?
Okay. Basically, the journey started a long time ago, probably back in, I'd say like freshman year of high school, maybe a little before that. I started as a DJ.
Yep.
So I've been through the struggle as a DJ, and just going through high school, doing all my Sweet 16s, and kind of just starting off over there. That's kind of how I got into the whole like scene, if you'd say, doing private parties and all that fun stuff.
Did
and
you
then,
have like an OG or like someone telling you how to manage that, or were you
no?
just like, I'm just trying to throw?
I'm just trying to throw some like. I just got into it, just like YouTube.
Yeah.
I had a mixed deck with the iPod in the middle,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
blue one, and then I had some speakers my dad got me for Christmas,
Nice.
and that's basically it. And then I just kind of walk around school, be like, oh, you need a DJ, and people would hit me up to do their Sweet 16s for my school, and then that's pretty much how I started there. I did not know how to mix, none of that. I actually went to a venue when I was like 16, 17 years old, Coliseum, and I did a quick mix for one of the owners over there, and it was like Tuesday night, like come by, do a mix, 30 minutes, and I did a mix for 30 minutes. At the end of it, he
Wait,
goes,
so they had you get on the get on
yeah,
some gear,
get on some gear, like
on the sound system.
Yeah.
and,
Was
there a
like,
crowd or
there
was
was
it?
nobody.
No, so it was just
it was
like an audition.
It was an audition. There was nobody there, and I was just playing for nobody. And at the end of it, he came back to me. He goes, "Yeah, man, you're gonna need some practice. Hit me up
You
in
know
a few
what?
years."
I think like more places should like do it.
That's
that way.
not a
That's
bad
like,
idea.
Yeah, like I like
Yeah.
like that's so when I first was hitting up venues way back when,
Yeah.
when I didn't really understand how it worked. That's how I thought it worked. Like I remember there was a place that doesn't exist here anymore that I wanted to play at, and I remember I found like either the manager or the owner's Facebook, and then I like DM'd him and was like, hey, like can I play for you, like whatever, and then like years later I find out that like the owner doesn't fucking know who DJ.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
that's not how
it's
it
like that's not
works.
how it works, but like that I feel like is a decent, maybe not the owner, but like whatever night that you're trying to play at and whatever.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
it's a good approach. I saw Screw Loose DJ in there back in the day, so I was like, "Oh, this guy looks like he's knows what he's doing." So let me hit up the owner, and he had me do an audition. But came back and said I wasn't good enough, and I took that on the chin. And I kept going. After that, when I graduated, I went to community college, and I was like, I don't know if I want to be a DJ anymore, because there's a lot of work that comes into DJing. Bringing speakers and all that fun stuff that a lot of people don't take into account, and then you play for 4 or 5 hours, and bringing speakers in and out and whatever, the whole case. So I was like, I think I'm gonna drop this. I don't think I want to do this anymore, and I wanted to focus on school. I wanted to have a hobby on the side. I wanted to take pictures, so I got myself a camera, and I reached out to this venue in Providence called Da Vinci, which is no longer open. But I reached out to the owner over there. I was like, hey, can I take some pictures? And he said, yeah, no problem. Make me a flyer and promote the event so you could take pictures for it. I'm like, all right.
nasty.
I'm like, all right. So
nasty.
So I made a flyer, and I had me and my friends in high school. We just started promoting this flyer, and it was called the Winter Night Party at Da Vinci. And we made the flyer, and we just started posting it. And then night happened. There's a full house. At the end of the night, made some good money. And then he's like, all right.
I never heard the story.
Yeah,
before.
when's the next one? 2 weeks. Did it again, packed out. So I'm like, all right.
And he obviously he didn't pay you.
No, I got paid.
Oh, you got paid to
I got
promote
paid,
it
but
and stuff?
but it was split up between like all my friends, 6, 7 people. So we walked out with like $100 each. You know what I mean?
But at that time, you're like, hey.
Yeah, at this time,
That's college money. $100 in college is like $1 million.
Well, at this time, like all my friends just graduated high school, and they were all coming to the places I was partying at. So like we were the guys, like, oh, these guys are having a good time. You know what I mean? And that was, I think, summer 16 or something, or 15, around that time. And then, you know, my friends kind of started drifting away from it. They're like, yo, we don't really want to do this anymore. Like, there's not really a lot of money into it. And I was like, all right. So now I'm going to Worcester State by myself. And when I got into Worcester State, I started the brand called Boujee. And then basically from there, it's just been me throughout the 4 years I was there. I was doing parties over there, and I don't know if you want me to go through all that fun stuff, but
we're down here, whatever.
All right. I think my first venue in Worcester was called Lava Lounge, and I started throwing parties there. And, it was busy. I got like 150 people. I was getting people to take the train from Providence to Worcester, and they were coming out to show me love. I had Screw Loose DJing for me at Da Vinci, and then I brought him out to Worcester. And, we started doing that over there. And then when I came back home, I would throw a couple pop-up parties, keep my name relevant, my brand relevant.
Yeah.
I started working at this place in the summer called Hanley's. And, we were just doing that. We're just kind of going through it all the motions. Like, I lost a lot of money in the beginning of my career, but I didn't really care for it because, like, I knew there was something big at the end of the tunnel. You know what I mean? So I just kept going and going. Eventually, like, when I went back to Worcester State, I started really diving into, like, how am I get my brand a lot bigger? So I started making flyers. I started going door to door by myself, like, throwing flyers under the dorms. I go to Assumption, do the same thing. I go to Holy Cross, I do the same thing, I just go around the
consortium.
I do it all by myself, and I just kind of do that. And then I would DJ my own parties because I didn't have enough money, so I was DJing my own parties. And my roommate took photos for me, so he was taking pictures from my events, and I was DJing my own events. And that's it. I kind of started building my brand. Sophomore year, got bigger. Junior year, I got bigger. Junior year, I got a call from Mezzo, and they're like, yo, we see your parties in Worcester. We want you to bring this down here because we're not doing so hot. I'm like, perfect. That's fine.
So Mezzo, for those who don't know, is in
Providence, yeah.
So, like, those are two completely different markets.
Completely different markets, for sure.
So, did you look at that and be like, okay, just like I can do this in Worcester because I'm here. How can I replicate this down in Providence?
Well, for me, it's always been, because I was established in Providence because that's where I first started my party. So I knew I could handle that in Providence. And when I went back home, I was also doing parties. So I still had a crowd in Providence. So I knew I could kind of like replicate that in Providence and also do the thing in Worcester.
Enough pull down there.
We had enough pull down there. But at this time, my current, partners that I'm working with, this is college, I hit up this guy named Antonio who runs that. And I called him. I was like, yo, man, let's set our differences aside. Because you know how it is. Like, we got,
my party's better than your party.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it was.
Yeah.
Let's set our differences aside. Let's throw a party together and let's make it happen. So that's it. That's all she wrote. We collabed on the first event and then pretty much took off from there.
Crazy.
So we did Mezzo, and then we did that for like 5 years, I think. And then COVID happened and, we still did parties during COVID, but on the low. Like, we did the adjustments that needed to be made during the COVID regulations and restrictions, and we still made it happen. We got through COVID, and I think, the people that got through COVID are the ones that really cared about their crafts.
Yeah.
Because they made all the adjustments that they needed to make.
Same with DJs.
Yeah, exactly.
DJs.
So,
100%.
They went through the motions and they made it happen. And now I'm here, so.
I think my favorite part of your story is that, like, you were the intern, the CFO, the CEO, the business associate, like, all in one. Yep. And you almost, like, it's almost better when you see it through every lens like that.
You wore every hat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I know, like, when I first started working, because I didn't start working with you till it's been, like, maybe, I think this winter will make 2 years.
Yeah.
Since we first worked with each other. And I didn't know you DJ'd at, like, I didn't really, I knew the name. Like, I remember when, so when we first meet, he hits me up, like, on Instagram, but again, your account isn't like your face.
No.
It's all business.
It used to be my face.
Yeah,
I started kind of drifting away from that because
it's all about the people.
It's all about the people. It's not about me. It's about the people.
Yeah.
Like, and then obviously the older I get,
right.
I don't want to make my brand like I don't want to be like a 40-year-old guy or 30-year-old guy like pushing a party. You know what I
Right.
mean? I want to be just a brand, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then it
Which
keeps everything fresh.
Something about that I saw, I think, another podcast or something where someone was like, it's not about the individual. It's not about how cool the individual will be. It's about the brand. So like you should always look to push the brand, because the brand is the thing that can be bigger than the individual.
Exactly.
So I think that's like a perfect. Yeah, I think
being the guy behind the scenes, not the face of the brand,
Yeah.
allows
Yeah.
it to grow.
So anyway, so I had no idea what you looked like.
Okay.
So like, cause like I knew like Boujee, but I didn't know who Boujee was.
Yeah.
And so I remember like I get to the venue, and like it's my first time at this venue, first time working with dude, and like I had an opener, so but I got there early, check out the vibes, and I remember like being there, and I'm like, yo, like, we're like, I don't know if like, y'all like, is there a place I could chill or like whatever? I'm just kind of at the bar, like looking like a loser, and then I'm like, yo, where you at? And he's like, yo, I'm like in the plaid shirt, and I'm like looking around for this plaid shirt. And I'm like, yo, where the fuck is this kid? And then finally I see him, and it was the first time I met him. I'm just like, wow, like, that's like, it's very like wild that again, like you're making it bigger than you, and because there's a lot of promoters who can't do that,
Yeah.
or that just refuse to
Or
do
don't
that.
want to
or
do
don't
that.
want to do
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean? And I think that's very, very telling that like I came in, I was like, even I didn't know.
Yeah, who is?
You know,
It's
like-
like the Great Gatsby. Like,
Yeah,
who is
yeah,
Gatsby?
yeah, yeah.
Well, it's
yeah.
funny because like all the people that like, work with me, they're all bougie. Like my photographer's
Right,
bougie, my
right,
videographer's
right,
bougie.
right,
One
right.
if you're DJing, you don't know who DJ. Oh, that's bougie. It's gotta
Right,
be bougie.
right,
You know what I
right,
mean? Like,
right.
so everybody's basically like,
Yeah,
you don't know who it is, and that's
Right, right,
great.
right.
That's a great thing.
And when I found out that you also DJ'd and understood, you know what I mean? And I was like, oh shit, like he gets it. So
Yeah.
like if something is missing the mark, like you know
Yeah.
and you can hear it, or if something is really good, you know and you can hear it. And I think that's been one of my favorite things about like our business relationship, of being like, okay, I know that you appreciate, because there are some promoters that will book you and then they'll kind of just disappear, or they're partying, getting fucked up themselves,
Yeah.
and they don't really know left from right. And they're kind of like maybe like booking me just because of like the name or the Instagram, where like I know that we've talked about like you being like, no, like I need like this specific presence from you, or
Yeah.
like you bring this kind of vibe and stuff, and like you understanding that, I think is also part of why you've been so successful as well.
Yeah. Shout out to Screw Loose. Screw Loose is a big mentor of mine. He taught me everything that I kind of know today, and I've kind of progressed throughout the years and learned on that. So shout out to him. But
Word.
yeah, no, basically like the DJs are the most important thing of the party. They curate the vibe. So for me to like be able to understand what I'm looking for is super valuable to me. Because I could just have anybody DJing, but they don't know how to curate a room, and that's super important, being able to curate. We could bring the people, but the DJ holds the people down, and they take care of it. They make the bar sales higher. They make sure everybody's having fun, and they're bringing the people back. Because
Yeah.
if the DJ's not good, those people ain't coming back.
Yeah.
Regardless of the brand.
And I will say, Boujee throws down, bro. Like there have been times
I've
where-
seen the videos.
Yeah, because there's been times where he'll be like, I'll just open, and it's like, oh, guy who can DJ, bro. Oh my god. And I'll come catch like 20 minutes, 30 minutes of your set sometimes or whatever, and I walk in, I'm like, yo, Boujee's kind of throwing down right now.
Not surprised.
Or I'll like be in there and I'm like, yo, like he's and the amount of times, because we talk about we're in a group chat with some other DJs and stuff, and the people you book and stuff.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about like good openers and bad openers, and I'm like, yo, Boujee's never given a bad opening set ever. Like he like plays good songs that like aren't hot songs but are good songs,
Yeah.
and like get people moving. Like he's really
knows
good
how to
at
move
that.
the room.
Yeah, really
Yeah.
good at that. But I'm like, but this is the promoter. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
So like I know Sid sent me the budget. He's a promoter out here, and he's a guy he's a promoter who can also DJ.
Yep.
And he always says, if I can DJ better than you, there's no chance I'm booking you. He always
Yeah,
always
that's
says
his
that.
thing.
He's like, why would I book you if I can DJ
Yeah.
better than you?
Right.
It's true.
And,
I mean, that's how I roll too. Like,
Yeah.
what's the point in booking somebody if they're not better than you?
Yeah.
As a DJ, as a headlining DJ, you're supposed to be able to make a presence in the room. And that's the biggest thing. When you walk in the building, there's a presence in the room. You set yourself apart from the opener. And if I can't, as an opener, I'm supposed to be able to set you up in the best way possible for you to excel in your position. So, I appreciate DJs that care about their craft, and I respect that. And then those are the ones that I keep working with.
Yeah.
You know what I
That's
mean?
it. That's the best way to build a successful party at the end of the day.
100%.
Yeah. Again, I think that does play to your longevity, and and the thing about your parties that I think are interesting, like, because you cover like bars, clubs.
Yeah, so I was gonna
yeah.
ask. So from the growth to now.
Oh, yeah,
so,
yeah. What you got going
so
on
what
right
do you
now?
got going on
Yeah,
now?
yeah.
Where are you at? What
forgot about
cities
that
you
part.
at? How many events are you doing?
Well, we just tapped into Bristol, so right now I'm working on Fish Company in Providence. I'm also working on Bristol in at Aiden's Pub, and we're doing Scorpion Barn Fridays in Foxborough, and Sundays we do Fishco, Saturdays we do Coliseum, so I'm doing
And that's
it.
weekly.
This is weekly.
Like, I want to make sure people understand, because doing a weekly is not easy. Doing 5 fucking weeklies is not easy. Doing 2 weeklies in a single night
Yeah.
is not easy.
We do 5 weeklies,
And then some pop-up shit.
pop up.
So you sleep on Mondays and Tuesdays, basically.
Barely.
Yeah.
Because then we got to
Yeah.
take phone calls. You got to make,
Yeah.
you got meetings. You got to try and book people. You got to do all the other stuff, the
Yeah.
graphics. Because, I'm doing my graphics too. Like, I don't have anybody else. Like, it's just me.
There you go.
So, like, I'm doing everything from top to bottom. You got to, respond to, the owners and email chains and, all the fun stuff that comes with it. But
Yeah.
now it's a lot, and I'm blessed to be where I'm at today. I did have an account in Worcester, working with different venue owners. You got to be able to navigate like different, obstacles that may come through nightlife. So we did have an account in Worcester, but unfortunately that's not there yet, but we're working on getting another one. So, just having all these events is great. It's a lot, but it's cool.
And as Boujee concludes that, we do have the Podfather Ado
Johnny!
setting up the mic right here.
Let's go.
Because for everyone knows, Ado's a very accomplished promoter himself, and I love this dynamic here because we have 2 titans in the building that I think are gonna have a really nice bounce. Ado, talk to me. What got you on the seat?
Well, first of all, I don't think it does any service when you say it's hard to do 5 weeklies, right? That's
To do 1 weekly.
I was just gonna say to do 1 weekly is very, very hard in today's ticket environment, consumer behaviors, and everything where we're at in nightlife and in hospitality, right? But something that just came to my mind. You said that you basically do everything in terms of your graphics, your DJing. How was that possible? I don't even know how to formulate my question. Is that like?
Because I will say you're a big delegator. Ado.
Yes, I mean, see, that's what brought me to come up and ask this question
I
because
was gonna ask that.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine a world where I didn't have like the team that I do to be able to help me get to this point, right? Like, so for you to be able to manage 5 nights, Thursday through Sunday,
Yeah.
right, and do everything from booking, because like I can't even handle DJs sometimes, the back and forth of the DJ communication, right?
Yeah.
Let alone some of our like flyer communication, because different flyers have different styles, like, you know, the delays in getting that back, like, you know, getting events up on listings and like changing those things in real time. Like, how do you go about that process, right? I would be curious. And also I think that helps people understand, right, like what goes into allowing those things to be successful, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you could tell, but I got like a bunch of gray hairs.
Mine have started coming in.
Honestly, so like the DJ thing, so booking the DJs, like I kind of do that like 4 months in advance. So right off the bat, I'm already 4 months in advance with booking the DJs. So I don't really have to worry about that unless there's a cancellation. And if there's a cancellation, then
you get pissed.
and I get
He
heated
gets pissed.
if there's cancellations. But I make it happen just because I know who I'm working with, like, and I know what to look for, so I could kind of just plug that in. So that's simple. The graphics, I'll probably do that on Monday and Tuesdays. I usually get my weekly graphics out every Monday. And then in terms of like my Instagram, like my photographers send me over my photos, and you know, we kind of just post the stuff.
And
so you're big on process, right? Because basically what you just said is that's a process. Like you're very regimented in what you're doing and how you do it every time. So let me ask you a question about like how you think about DJs. So you just programming your nights and basically saying, hey, this is what I'm going to stick to regardless if the event is going off script, right? Like let's just say an event 2 months from now, right? And a concept isn't something that is working any longer, right? Are you shifting? Does the DJ have any like, does DJ that you book change how you go about promoting the event? And how do you look at that if an event isn't doing as well?
So basically, like all the events that that are happening, I'm not relying on the DJs to bring the crowd there. I'm relying on myself to bring the crowd there, and obviously
I can confirm this.
on my partners to bring.
He has never asked me to bring
What's your guest
to do
list?
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like I can confirm that 100%.
I don't ask them to do anything for me. I don't have promoters that work. Like, if I'm not doing, in my opinion, if I'm not working to be the best where I possibly can be, then I'm not doing my job correctly. So for me, it's like, if I'm not relying on the DJ to bring people, so the crowd just kind of knows the parties that I'm throwing and what to expect. If I start seeing like a drift in numbers, I kind of take a step back to see how I can promote better. And because the DJs I'm working with, I trust them with full confidence that they're going to bring the best that they can bring. And if they don't bring that, then we're not going to work with them anymore. And then in terms of like, being able to adjust. So like, I'm not going to put, like my rookie DJ that I just had on a big event, like say if we have, an artist or, micro influencer come out or somebody from, I'm not going to put like one of the DJs I'm not trusting on one of those events. So I'm going to put someone that can be able to handle a room and like be able to shift immediately if they need to. You know what I mean? Because being a DJ, you're supposed to be able to read the room and be able to adjust how you're playing the music according to the crowd and how they're reacting. Because if you can't do that, then you shouldn't be, a DJ. You shouldn't be a headliner,
Yeah. I completely agree. I think as a promoter, it's supposed to be on you to fill the room, right? But I think there's something to be said for having a name like Cammy or Snacks or whatever. I think that brings brand value. And there's a bunch of other DJs I could name, right, that bring brand value to a specific event and also the direction of the event, right? But if, let's just say Snacks is like for some of the 18 plus, events that he does, right? He's been able to curate a specific style that really aligns with that group, which is why I think the groups that he works with for those things continually book him. Now, if Snacks is no longer having experiences that put him in that position so he can play those rooms, right? Like, if I had booked him 4 months, out for a gig, I might not want to have him anymore, right? Not because I'm relying on him as a DJ, but he's no longer playing that style, right? Like he's no longer he's no longer in that space. Just like DJs, for an example, right? DJs that were locally always were in touch with what the Boston scene were. They go out to other markets, right? And they forget what Boston needs, right? Like that to me is a problem because it's like, okay, hey, if you come back and you're bringing the style that you played down in Miami and Houston and you're not able to adjust to what the room is, I need you to be present in the space. I need you to be familiar with the audience a little bit. I'm not saying that I need you to fill the room, but I still need you to be able to say, hey, if this guy's on the flyer, that might give me an extra 5, 10, 15 people. Those 15 people aren't shaping the event. I
do think the markets are different though.
Yeah,
because,
I was just going to go into
downtown
that.
Boston and then the nightclubs, the competition on the block alone,
100%.
Like that, I think is why you might have to think about that a little bit more.
Yeah. Where
again, in the last almost 2 years where I've worked with Boujee, like I think the crowd has remained the same, like in terms of just like style and what the kind of sets I need to bring.
Yeah.
I think like sometimes we have to shift. Maybe we have to do a Latin theme here or an Afrobeats theme, whatever, just to kind of like shake shit up and like this is what's hot right now. Like, again, this just as a DJ, correct me if I'm wrong, or if you have any other, thoughts on it. That like his brand or the venues he's doing and the crowd that he draws from is like. It's not really like it's so, bro, when I play it's very open format. It's like there is no theme. Like there is like it's very much like this is the best party that's going on.
Yeah.
Like the theme is like it's like hard to explain. It's very, very different. But that's why like I walk in and I'm like, yo, like the sets have been always very, very different. And never really to cater to like a theme or a genre or anything like that. So I think it differs in that way.
Oh, 100%.
And I think that's why he's like, okay, I have my roster of DJs that can do that.
And he sticks.
Yeah. And it works.
I'm just so in awe with that, right? Because I don't think we can
No, it's very different. It's very.
I don't think we can.
I know what you're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think I can book 4 months in advance. I don't think you can either because
do like two to three.
It's
Three max.
really hard,
Three
right?
max.
Because the rooms are constantly changing. Like what's required in terms of the promotion, in terms of the partnerships we look at, right? Like we just had some partnership changes
Yeah.
that we're realigning
And now,
some of the
and now we're like, oh,
expectations.
we might have to adjust some
Exactly.
of the DJs.
You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
happens.
So,
yeah.
yeah, I was just curious to obviously understand your thought
I mean,
process.
I think like as a working DJ, you're supposed to, you know, if you're at the top of your game and top of your craft, you're supposed to kind of make your adjustments, you know, throughout your days to know what's working with the trends. You know, you got to figure that out for your own self, because if you don't figure that out, you're not going to be a working DJ in 4 or 5 months. You're not going to have that gig. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Yeah.
You know, so I think for someone that appreciates their craft as a DJ, they're consistently working towards being the best DJ that they can be. And you know, because like there's always going to be young bucks coming up in the game, you know, trying to take your spot. So for you to be on top of your game for as long as possible, you know, I think being in that position, you got to be able to like adapt to, you know, what's coming in the scene. And that's basically it. Like, you know, I don't know what your takes on that are. I mean, having like a mentorship. So like, I know you got
Yeah.
people coming up under you
Yeah.
that are learning from you.
Yeah.
So
and I brought them to Fishco. I brought them to Scorpion. Like, to be
exactly.
like, you need to see this.
Yeah.
And like understand this, because different markets, different types of promoters, different types of venues, different types of crowds. Like, because like again, I do a lot of your stuff, and like, but you do have a distinct like when I look at my ecosystem of gigs, or like crowds that I need to like make sure I'm on top of. Like yours is like on its own thing. Like I got to make sure I like know I'm still kept up with the Boujee crowd. You know what I mean? So but I will say like. If you start working with someone like Boujee, like people that are like all year long doing events, it's not just pop-ups, it's not one-offs, it's like weeklies. It's like, okay, these are the types of promoters that again, there's a reason why I, you know, love working with y'all, and have you both here is really, really awesome. You are two such successful promoters that, again, do so much work. I'm, as a DJ, is going to prioritize like y'all's crowds and y'all's nights, because Ado has how many weeklies? You have how many weeklies? As a DJ, if I'm trying to get booked a lot and I can play all of your weeklies, whether it's like once a month, but again, if you have 5, like that's 5 gigs I can have in a month, potentially, right? Like I feel like you fuck with me and I'm like able to fit with your crowd, boom. I do each one of your things once a month, 5, that's 5 gigs right there. Then Ado's 4 or 5 right there. Like, I don't know. I feel like DJs don't think that way. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like they're like, no, this is my bag and this is what I do and I need to get booked for it. And it's like, dude, you're holding out on your own gigs. There's dudes that have a lot of work for you, but you don't fit their shit, or you don't care to fit their shit, or you don't like try and adjust or learn, make yourself uncomfortable. You know, get outside of your comfort zone. Like,
That's how you get pigeonholed, and
Yeah.
you're limiting your income basically
Yeah.
as a DJ.
yeah.
Did I answer your question correctly?
Yeah, that was not correctly, dude. I was just trying to pick your brain of like how you
Yeah.
thought about that stuff, and I think the market stuff is definitely.
Well, I mean, in
big.
Boston, it's definitely different in Boston, right? Like, I don't know I've never really stepped into the Boston market, so you know, you've been doing this for a minute now. What do you like in Providence? You know, it's
Because there's no proper nightclubs.
yeah,
in
man. Like in
Providence.
Providence, we don't have like. I don't know, like we don't have the biggest nightclubs in the nation in Providence. You know, we just
Yeah.
got we got bars, we got we
Yeah.
got nightclubs here and there, but like it's nothing compared to Boston. You know, so
Yeah.
it's a completely different animal. So like for me to navigate it, you know, it's difficult, but I'm sure you know. In your position over here, you probably have your things that you have to overcome here as well. that
Oh
are
yeah,
completely
there's
different.
there's a ton of obstacles in terms of having nightclubs is nice, but it's also tough, right? Because
Yeah.
now you're dealing with such sheer volume and space that you have to fill, and obviously people's tendencies nowadays to want to have more intimate spaces and curated vibes. It's a lot harder to try to week after week try to evolve that space, right? Beyond what the own venues aren't even doing with their own space. So, but
Well, what's your take on that? So, like, when it comes to bringing people weekly in a different venue every single week, you know, what's your take on that? And not having like to do, say, a special event every single week or every day, every night that you have a party, not having to do a special event, just having a regular night. What's your take on like having those people there every week? You want to have a consistent DJ that's good at what they're doing, right?
yeah, look, I think having a weekly is a blessing. This is actually something we go back and forth on of like, now that we're as a company standalone 10 years in, and then as a sub, right? Just seeing the value of being able to bring people to the same place week after week has definitely changed. The appetite of those people, right, to bring them to the same places has changed. And I think loyalty to specific venues has changed from a customer's perspective. So now, if I had to be honest, being able to migrate and touch every room, like, it's probably what I would ideally want. But I also know, to get to this position, you do have to have that weekly, right? You do still need to touch and engage some of the customers. And part of that is like, you give up, some of the monetization opportunities, right? By just letting in people for free. I think we're in a promotional state as a whole in nightlife where you're giving up, and there's, technical terms like calls to action of saying, hey, if you come here, I'll give you this and I get this in return from you, right? And that's part of like being able to go and do some of the larger scale events and going up market and some of like, not just club rooms into mini festivals, into concerts or whatever the case is, right? So I don't know if I'm answering your question, but I'm split because I know I need the weekly in order to be able to do the bigger stuff. And if I don't do that, I no longer kind of touch and feel and understand what the market that helped me get to this point. And then I can't expect to go do that in another market where other people are doing that constantly every single day, right? Like if I think about going to Rhode Island, it's like kind of stuck, right? Because like I'm competing with guys that understand to the T of what works, who to hire, what talent to bring in. Like if I went to Fishco right now, could I figure it out? Take me some time. But why would I go up against you for it? You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes no sense. I'll be, kind of dead underwater, right? And that's kind of my thought process of like, okay, well, in order for me to ever catch up, I'm not saying that it's a race, but if I was ever to try to catch up, I need to put in the same amount of time that you have just to get to where you are at. And you're not going to stay at the same place. You're going to be evolving, right? So that's part of the balance of trying to figure out, like, how do you balance the weekly expectations with, where the consumer's at today and also meeting, owners' expectations and so forth. So, yeah, I wouldn't trade it for just going off and doing, one-off special events by any means, because those are just as hard. Yeah. Like people that do concerts and festivals, they have the same grind as we do. It's just they're doing it on a one-off basis. Yeah. Right? So it's all the same thing. I just think this gives us the pool of people to be able to touch and reach whenever we do the special events.
Yeah. Because I think that the weekly is like now you're the staple.
Exactly.
Versus like the curated, like
monthly,
once in a while,
once a
or
quarter.
Like, and there's the value of both, right? Like, I got to make sure I can't miss the next one because we don't know when it is, right?
Exactly.
But then there's also like but they hold me down every week. This is the place I go every week. Like this is
it's
where
a
I
tough
like to
balance.
go.
That's what I was gonna ask. Like, what's the balance like of doing like 5 weeklies, for example, and not bleeding your crowd dry? If that makes sense. Like
that's something I don't understand. Like that's something from you. Like I really, really don't get. Like
I think again, for me, if I had to say, I think that's where you go into markets. Like each market's very different, right? Yeah. Like if I had a 200-person room, it would make sense for me to do a weekly, right, and have a bigger appetite for that than me having a 400-person room, right, and trying to force them. Like I actually need them to come back every week, right? Please, like 200, I can go through my database. I can go through the people that come and see me, because I only have so much capacity. Whereas like, when you have 400 people, it's kind of hard to cycle through 400 new people every single week, right? How do you actually build a good party when every week you're just having different people cycle through your venue, right? Like that's it. You can never build a base of people. Like when I have a party, I want to have EJ Dillon, Boujee, and these guys as this core people that come every week, and then they can meet the new girls, the new guys that shake their hands. But if every week I don't know that Dylan's gonna be there or Snacks or any of you guys are in the room, it's kind of hard, right? Like, can never build this continuity between the clientele and who they're engaging with, what to expect. We're in there. Like, those are all the like smaller dynamics when you look at a good party.
What's the
So,
personality?
so you have
Exactly.
your core base,
Exactly. You need
and then supplement.
correct. Exactly. So like, I don't know. It's a tough question in terms of like
Yeah.
how you strike the balance of how many weeklies that you do. I don't know what you think.
So bleeding people out and coming to your weekly events. To be honest, in my opinion, I just think like going back to what Ado said, like just having that core base is super important. I also think, you know, with us doing this for so long, we've built brand recognition, and that's the biggest thing in my opinion. Is all about brand recognition. That's something I focus on, and I'm sure that's something you focus on.
100%.
I think a lot of people kind of miss that point, because if you have, you know, a brand that people know is going to be, say, a fun party, they're always going to go to that fun party, regardless of another promoter's throwing a party down the street. They're going to want to go to your party because they know that party is going to be fun. And I think over the years that I've done this on a weekly basis, I've built it to that point where it's like, I need to be at that party because I know I'm going to have a good time there, and all my friends are going to be there. And then their friends are going to tell their friends, and there's just going to be this whole, you know, circulate. It's a cycle that's always going to keep happening. And over the years, I've noticed like all the freshmen going into schools, they know about my brand of Bready because their friends from the summer will come out. They're like, yo, what am I going to do on Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays? Oh, go to this party, follow this account. You know what I mean? Like, so I think over the years, like, it's just been like that because I really haven't had any issues yet in terms of my weeklies and seeing any drop-offs.
Definitely not.
I also see like, because you're also a weekly media guy too. Like, it's always a photographer, always a videographer every week at all of your events.
So one of the biggest things for me too is my photographer is one of my biggest assets, and my videographer, because
EJ's clapping right now. EJ's fucking clapping.
I don't know if you heard it.
Bro, if you think about it, like when it comes to me and Ado, like we don't really want to be out there in the scene.
Yeah, it's true, both of you. Yeah,
you know what I mean? We're just trying to lay back, see what's going on, and kind of like, you know what I mean? We don't want to be out there doing anything crazy. As a photographer and a videographer, they're your point of contacts at the venue. They're going up to everybody there. You know, they're interacting with the people. They're taking pictures. For them, they're my promoters. They're my biggest assets because they're the ones that are speaking to the people. They're the ones that are driving people to my Instagram and getting those new faces and getting those followers. That's what they're doing.
Yeah,
and they're not just taking pictures.
And it's weekly posts of like, again, the same types of photos, and it's always like all girls.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah.
CO2, whatever, and it's like it's one of those things where like the same way I kind of like look at or try and run my own page is like when you stumble on Boujee's page, it's like, well, it's just a bunch of hot girls having hot times at good play. You know what I mean? It's like so it's like it becomes like, okay, how do you not at least check it out?
Right.
How do you not at least pull up once and then if you have a good time?
Yeah.
Then it's like, then you're in.
Yeah.
So the one thing I will say about this all, right? Because like there's something to be said about the economics, like part of making all these things work.
Yep.
We're not here to talk about our specific deals, right? But what I can say, why I think we've relied less on media is part of the reason is because one, it's frankly, you know, some of the clientele is not using it as much, right? And maybe that's that could be an us thing. That could be just a consumer thing, right? Split. The other thing, the cost of it, right? It's invaluable, but also it becomes, you know, harder when you do have larger spaces and you have to have a promotional give to the consumer to get them out, right? So back to Cammy's question, how do you not bleed your clientele out? Well, at least in Boston, we're in a state where if you don't do freeze, it's going to be very, very hard to get people to come out and pay some of these astronomical, you know, door entry points, right? And, you know, the consumer then also has to go buy a drink for, you know, certain average of whatever that bar is spending. So for me, if you don't have deals that are set up where you can be compensated beyond just door revenue, that trickles down in what the people that are producing the party basically can do to ensure that we're capturing the right content, right, to give back to the consumer. So all of this is like an economics question of like, okay, what are the deals set up in your area or your neck of the woods that allow you to be able to do those things? Are you even doing promotional giveaways? Like, do you have to run into those issues? Again, it's not a question for you to answer specifically, but I think the economics of the business are a huge part of what allows certain things to run.
Because that does differ by market as well.
Of course,
sure.
100%, right? Because Houston, I could tell you a lot of it is not a lot of covers, right?
But it's also
it's certain parts.
So at least for the places that I was at, or that I was able to see, like a lot of it was like it was owner to DJ.
Correct. Exactly. The process is very different.
So I was getting paid by the owner. Like the owner came through and was like giving me drinks, like because at the end of the day it's his fucking money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like it wasn't like I was cutting from
Promoter,
promoter's money
this
or
and that,
whatever.
yeah.
And like, but
Right.
this is this is what we got for the night and our budget and whatever. So like when people don't understand that though, like even in Lawrence.
Yeah.
Like even a lot of the venues in like Lawrence and the North Shore and stuff.
Yeah.
It's all in house. I mean, granted they hold 150
Correct.
people, and it's all just the owner that's like, okay, like we have our DJs and they're usually the weeklies. It's like usually like the resident, and then they bring in the people, and then like the owner at the end of the night cuts them the check or the bread. Like
See you
it's
later,
a very
move
different
on.
process.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I should take back. I don't want to say Houston because there's so many mixed different ways that those people operate. But I just think that like the process of like how certain doors or how nights are curated in every market looks very, very different.
Yeah, I think when it comes to Boston, it's a completely different animal. You guys have how many venues you have in Boston?
Oh, dude, a lot.
And
I mean, if you ask the average TikToker, we have no venues.
well, yeah, with TikToker, but
There's one venue.
There's
let me
nowhere
give
to
you-
go. It's
let me give you
so boring.
let me give you an example. In the theater district,
Yeah,
clubs alone,
seven?
you have
7 or 8?
1, 2, 3, 4
Four.
clubs in a walking distance of like 2 minutes of each other.
yeah.
That's a high density of basically you have over 2,000 capacity. Right? It's like how do you make sure all the how many genres of music can you really have that are all very different
Right.
to
Yeah.
make sure all of these genres of all these bodies are filled into the club.
So being a promoter in Boston must be crazy. So kudos to you because like,
But that's why he's so
It's like the-
shocked.
that's
That's why
what
he's
I'm
like,
saying.
yeah.
dude, it's
It's
a
the Wild Wild West out here, bro.
it-
Sometimes.
that sounds crazy because like, Boston is just a completely different animal, and I can understand why you guys do so many frees because like there's just so many places to compete with, and like if every venue was like, well, honestly, if every venue came
Yeah.
together, every single venue was like, hey guys,
We're doing
gonna,
this.
We're gonna charge $15
That
across the board.
That's how it used to be once
And
upon
that's
a
how
time.
it
was that
should
we
be.
all used to have at least a baseline of where we're at,
Mm-hmm.
right? But when other entities come along, right, and I get it, they have to operate what's best for them. They don't need to operate for what's good for, I guess, everybody, right?
Yeah.
But once someone goes, let's just say I drop my prices to $10,
Same
right?
as it's the same as DJing.
Exactly. If I drop my prices to $10, you're kind of forcing. No, you don't have to. You're forcing where the market should be
Yeah.
because now you're basically telling the consumers like, hey, I can get to this venue for $10. Why am I
Yeah.
going over there for $10?
Exactly.
You're kind of messing it up for everybody
Yeah.
when you do those things. But again, each business has their own responsibilities to make sure that their places are thing. But yeah, I think if we could get back to a world where things were a little bit more standardized, and I think Snacks has talked about this a lot, is like if one DJ goes and
Yeah.
takes a gig for $200, it's just
Fucks
like
it
you're lowering the ceiling, right?
Yeah.
Like, so again, there's so many factors that kind of go into these puzzles to make this work, right?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of factors that go into it.
Well, because I feel like the closest thing you have to something like that is like Kahlo has like that block has like what 4 venues.
Yeah,
around there or
there's a
something
couple
like
of venues down there. I don't want to say this in like a weird way, but like for me, every venue, and like I hope that nobody takes this the wrong way, but every venue that I've been working with, they haven't had, and I'm not gonna say every venue. They're like most venues I've worked with, that they haven't had a large crowd. Until like we started kind of like getting in there and doing our thing. So I think we bring value to those venues and we're able to execute those things because of what we're bringing to the table and the turnaround that they've seen. When it comes to like charging at the door and stuff like that, I think Rhode Island's a very small state, so we can do that because we don't have that much competition in Rhode Island. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, in Boston, it's completely different because you guys have all these venues that you have to be able to compete with every other venue. You have to bring out an artist. You have to do all these things to be the best of the best.
Yeah.
Because if you're not doing that, I'm sure people are going to pay an extra $5 to go to see, you know, Trey Songz.
Oh, yeah,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's just the nature of it. You
Yeah.
know, in nobody, like, no big artists are coming to Providence unless people like promoters are bringing them out there. No artists are like, hey, I'm gonna go to Providence.
Yeah.
They don't come out here. They just go to Boston.
Yeah.
Because Boston is what people know.
Yeah.
In the Northeast, they don't know. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to Providence. So for me, like, to bring somebody out, I got to pay money to have them. And at that point, my party's already busy, and then, you know, they're just coming to come. You know what I mean? So that's just basic. It's a completely different market, but kudos to you and what you do out here, man. You know, you've been killing it.
Man,
and
let me come over to Rhode Island.
Hey, no, thank you so much.
The Podfather. Dude, I love that. What a guy.
And high level stuff, guys. Shout out
that's
any
crazy.
like event producers, promoters, DJs. You know, checking it right now. Like this is high level stuff. And of course, obviously, this being a DJ podcast, at the end of the day, we would have to ask about. You touched up on it a little bit earlier about but like what you look for in a DJ, the processes of, because I know you got a lot of DMs. I know you got people coming up to you. I'm trying to DJ your shit. I'm trying to do your shit. Let's get your perspective in terms of the rights and wrongs, the icks, the
What's the right way? What's the wrong way to go about getting booked for
what are
Boujee?
you looking for? What gets someone consistently booked for you?
For me, I think the first step would be to attend an event. Come to an event. You know, you could DM me on Instagram, you can email me, but for me, that doesn't go anywhere because at the end of the day, what's a conversation over the internet? Come meet me in person, shake my hand. Let me introduce yourself to me. You know, one of the guys that Darius, and we know we were talking about him earlier, Darius used to come to all my events and he would stand behind the DJs and he would look at what the DJs are doing. The guys that are getting hired on a weekly basis, he would learn from them. And, you know, I appreciated that. And I gave him an opportunity to open up one of my nights. And he did. And he did a good job. And he kept learning and learning. You know, someone that's eager. And now he's doing his thing, you know, by himself with whatever he got going on. Shout out to Darius. You know, I look for that. I look for people that are hungry and eager to, you know, to work on their craft. Because for me, that's how I started. I was hungry. I was eager. I put in the work, you know, to be where I'm at today. And I expect that from other people that I'm working with. I don't want to work with people that, you know, they got 100,000 views on TikTok just because they got 100,000 views on TikTok. I don't really care for that. I'd rather have a guy that has 3,000 followers on Instagram, but he's killing it in the clubs. You know, he can hold it down. And that's one of the things I go back to. I don't rely on DJs to bring people because I'm not expecting them to bring people. I'm expecting them to DJ, especially the resident guys. Now, if I'm bringing somebody out like a big artist, you know, because there's a difference between a DJ and an artist, right? Like if someone's producing music, you're an artist now. You're making music. You're putting it out there. You are an artist. People are coming to see you for your shows because of the music you've made. A DJ is someone that's just playing the music, but playing it in the best way possible, you know, and creating a vibe in the room and setting that room up for the best success that it can have. That's what a DJ is to me, in my opinion. And there's an artist. There's a different categories to these things, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, I would say that's what I look for, people that are hungry. My icks are people that expect things and they think they're better than what they actually are. And they think that one of my biggest things is, you know, when you bring people on into nightlife and they don't pay respect back to you, and then they think that, you know, they're where they're at because of themselves and they got no help from anybody else. Because at the end of the day, you know, if you don't have somebody helping you out or a mentor, you know, or anything like that, you're never going to be where you are today. So that's one of my biggest things too. I hate that. I hate when people come into nightlife and they're like, you know, they learn off of you and then they just go do their own thing and then that's it. Like they think they're better than you or whatever. So I don't like that at all. That's basically it. And then if you can't DJ better than me, like I said, we're not doing it. Like there's no point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think you know, I know we talk about this like on an individual level, but I think like for some of the DJs listening, of maybe, you know, they might get some bookings here and there, but they're not like blowing up with gigs or like not a lot of inbound. Like, again, being on both the DJ and promoter side of like, what are something that might have you turn your head and be like, oh, I'm booking him again. You know what I mean? Like, what's something that maybe a piece of advice sets them apart that maybe someone that's listening might be like, what's something that they could work on to make sure they get the call back, or they might become a resident or get something monthly or something like that. Because for you, sorry to interrupt, but for you, it's not bringing in a guest list, right?
Right.
So take that away, right? Like, there's a lot of people that can get far with that, and they're like, I can bring a million people. Cool, that's awesome. That works for a lot of people. For you, it doesn't.
My party's already packed, so
yeah. So
what
it's
else
like,
can you add?
You know what I mean?
So that's a deep question because everybody has an ear for themselves. So they like, so for example, some person, say if somebody comes to my party and they see the DJ as DJing, they could like that DJ and I could hate the DJ.
Right.
I think for me the biggest thing is the DJ able to, like we said earlier, create a presence and be able to adjust to the room that he's playing at and making sure that most of the people there are having a great time. Mm-hmm. Someone that can create an experience and create a show. That's kind of what I look for. If you're a DJ that's just behind the booth playing music and you're playing good music, great. That's what I do. I can play music. I'm not behind the mic. I'm not hyping up the crowd. I'm not doing all these things. I'm not creating a show. I'm just DJing. I'm setting the room up, and I'm doing my job as a quote unquote opener. If you're a headliner, I think you need to be able to have a presence and be on the mic, know your music, drop the latest songs, mix in the old school songs. There's a bunch of things that go into it. And I also another thing that I really look for is people that carry themselves in a great way. I don't like working with people that are stuck up. They're not professional. I hate that. That's one of my biggest things. Like, if I see somebody that's not professional, I will call them out immediately. And
I've seen them do it.
Like, immediately.
Yeah,
I don't like, I've seen people do things at my events that I've ripped them a new one because it's like, what are you doing? Like, it's not a zoo over here.
We need more
working.
people like you.
Yeah.
We need more people
we're
like you.
working.
Because people, they don't understand that this is a job at the end of the day. It's not a desk job. Because we're out in a drinking environment, people like, oh, this is fun times. Like, no. At the end of the day, this is a job. We have a job to do.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think, oh, professionalism goes out the window just because it's a good time.
That's another thing that goes behind the brand recognition. If you have a DJ that's not professional, or even a photographer, everybody has to be professional. Because if they're not professional, that one person can ruin everything for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, that just leaves a bad taste in someone's mouth. So everybody has to be on the same page. So that's one of my biggest things is being professional and knowing how to carry yourself in certain situations and not saying the wrong things at the wrong time and just being able to hold yourself accountable for things that you're doing. So I think that's everything that I pretty much look for in a DJ. That's it. And if we vibe together, it makes it even better.
Yeah.
We end up becoming friends. Great.
Yeah. For sure.
What do you think the most rewarding thing has been for you since becoming a promoter and starting the business? Like, what's the most rewarding moment that you've had in your career?
I would say every single moment I have is very rewarding. I don't know. I know, we work a lot, me and Ado, all the time, and I'm sure there's other promoters that do the same thing. I don't think we ever take a step to just kind of take a step back and just breathe and kind of actually see where we're at and how far we've come. Every event that we do is special to us. Every opportunity we get is special to us. I wouldn't say there's one I could point out specifically, because every opportunity for me is a special one, and I'm grateful for where I'm at today. And I don't take anything for granted, because tomorrow I could wake up and this could be not here. You know what I mean? Like, everything could just fall apart, and that's it.
Yeah.
So every event I do, I really am grateful for, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart, man.
You can tell.
Yeah, no, there's a lot that goes into this that not a lot of people see. People just think that we show up and the parties are happening, and that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we're partying, we're having a good time, and that's what people think promoters are.
Yeah.
If you're somebody
They just
that's
show up.
really locked into the game, there is so much more that comes to promoting than just showing up to a party and popping bottles and having fun. That's not what we do.
I say this a lot, like with individuals like you, Ado, and Ross too. Shout out Ross. And like, there's certain dudes that realize that like promoting is so much bigger than the party, and that like there's so much behind the scenes that most of the stuff, again, similar to DJing, like 80% of the stuff is the prep, 80% of the stuff is like what you're doing behind the scenes, to be able to show up, come the party, and everything is symphony, everything is smooth, everything is perfect, right? And I think from my experiences, it's the dudes that are like that have longevity. The dudes that like that I like to work with, or that I'm like, you know what, like I got to move my things around to make sure I can fit in for this. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think you're a perfect example of that. I guess
crazy analogy for that is like, obviously I relate everything back to UFC, but like anytime like a fighter finally makes the walk into the octagon, they always like almost celebrate. They celebrate almost more as soon as they take their first step in the octagon than when they actually win the fight. So being able to like finally make it to that moment, I'm sure is what it's all about.
It's definitely surreal. The grind doesn't stop though. We got to keep going. And
what are the next steps?
Yeah, that was gonna be my actual. What's next for you? What's the future looking like?
The future for me right now. I mean, I have a couple of new venues that I'm working with currently that I'll be announcing soon. I just don't want to say it yet. I think eventually for me, I'm gonna get into the space of owning my own venue. I think that's the next step for me. Just building the brand over the past couple of years. I think I'm able to, get to that place where I can open my own venue one day. I think that's what my next step would be as an event coordinator, just kind of getting a venue and just.
You've worn every other hat, so why not add business owner, venue owner?
Yeah.
I think that's my next step is, getting my own venue and doing my own thing at my own spot. And that's pretty much it, because having your own venue is very, it's a stable thing. It's all about stability. So having your own venue is super important to me, and I think that's kind of where my next step would be. And if it's not that, I don't know. Maybe a janitor? I don't know, man.
No,
we'll see.
ownership would be insane, and obviously, you got the chops to do it. You've worn every hat, and that seems like the natural path. So obviously, I'm always rooting for you, and I'm grateful for you and appreciative of you that you call me back to work for you and stuff. So we got a big show tomorrow.
Yes, we do. Yeah, we got
talk about it.
We got a big show. We got Austin from Love Island coming out.
Yeah, so that's gonna be fun on a Wednesday. Just ripping on a Wednesday. So that's gonna be awesome.
How many psychedelics do you think that guy does on a daily basis?
He's a funny dude.
I can't talk about that one.
Yeah,
he's a good guy,
Yeah,
but he just had his podcast. He's doing good. He's doing good.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, unless there's anything else that you want to add or mention, shout out. It's been a huge pleasure to have you in an amazing conversation.
I appreciate you guys for having me. I just want to shout out everybody that I've been working with, all the opportunities I've gotten from all the venue owners, and all the opportunities that may come in the future. Shout out to everybody in the nightlife industry, and thank you guys for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I know you're a listener, so it's a huge pleasure to have you here. Long time coming. Awesome conversation. Please follow you at B-O. Let me see if I can get this right. Boujee. Is it Dot Entertainment?
Yeah. Perfect. Right
Dot Entertainment. Follow him. Check out his stuff. If you're in New England, if you're around, pull up on him. Say what's up. Tell him you heard him on the pod. Show love. Yeah, man, it's a huge pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
As always, like, subscribe, comment, share. Let us know what you want us to talk about, or what you want to hear. But it's been another awesome episode. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Peace.